Welcome to the Insurance Marketing Brain Dump Podcast. My name is Keagan with BriteBee, where we help insurance agents be found online. I'm here with Chris Paradiso with Paradiso Insurance and Paradiso Presents. I also have a very special guest, a legend from what I hear.
Yes, legend.
Director of Agency Capabilities and Programs. You have to work
mouthful.
extremely hard for this. Chuck Blondino with Safeco. Thank you for being on.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to be with you guys.
Well, so I want to hear a little bit of your story. I know that you've told Chris and I a little bit of that, but would love to hear your background. As I said, I think you're kind of a legend. People
Not kind of, as we walk around here, you can
Right,
see
like-
who's the legend.
right. So everyone just falls down before you. So it's so I want to know a little bit. I want to know a little bit more about you. So tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, so I can't stand when people talk about me.
We know.
Make you a little uncomfortable.
So that's okay. So let me tell you a little bit of history. There's two things I want to share. One is my insurance history. I started 25 years ago as a commercial underwriter, a commercial manager, a commercial territory manager. So being between the rep and the rep between the company and the agents. I've been a work comp underwriter. I've been a marketing director, and today I get to help agents grow through this new team that I'm on. 40 years ago,
40 years.
40 years ago, I had my own franchise, and it was a carpet dyeing and cleaning company where I built that in 18 months from a scratch business up to having 6 trucks, 8 people in a phone room, that people don't ever do that anymore, and an office manager. And so I say that because I have so much passion for the independent agent and what a principal goes through in running a business. It is so much more, they're a commercial producer as well as the principal, so they spend all their time producing business. It's like, yeah, no, there's so much more going on behind the scenes, being responsible for running the business and all that other stuff. So I really have a passion for helping small business people grow.
That's great.
Absolutely the truth. And I've had the pleasure to be able to sit and watch and go through. Back in the day, it was called Bricks for Clicks and Customers for Life, and was able to sit through both of them, I believe, twice. So,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
had a great pleasure of listening to Chuck.
He doesn't know this, but he was one of my people that kind of confirmed what I was working on in our technology and everything. About 2 years ago, went to one of his classes in Dallas and sat through it, and I was going, oh my gosh, yes, this makes sense. This makes sense. So thank you for being some inspiration there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm guessing the part that you picked up on is that agents have to do more than just sell.
Yep.
That we are in a connection revolution, as coined by Seth Godin.
Yep.
And that
Like Seth.
ability to connect, build trust, have people appreciate who you are because of what you do outside of your work, and that you have to share that. Your work, I just believe so much in the independent agent channel. They live where the clients live, they shop where they shop, their kids go to the same schools, and they offer a multitude of carriers. That's better for any for any client than going to someone that only offers one brand. Even if they can give you 3 different prices with one brand, someone who can offer multiple carriers just seems like better choice. Now, as a carrier guy, I have to work harder for your business. I have to earn it every single day. But I know that helping you guys grow your entire business, as opposed to just my sliver, will help my distributors be better business people.
Couldn't agree more.
So that's what we go for.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
So you told me before we started this that you had 3 things that you really like, 3 pillars, right,
Yeah.
that you guys focus on, and I would love to know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I could go into great depth on many of these things, but in a short video podcast, and again, thanks for inviting me, this is really fun, but the 3 things I would talk about are revenue, retention, and new business. So there's a ton of programs that my team could be involved in, but we're only involved in those that actually help drive an agency's revenue. So I'm not involved in customer experience. I'm not involved in processes for other kinds of things outside of new business retention and revenue, right? That's my team's focus.
Sure.
So when it comes to revenue, there's a few things that I would share, and one of those is when it comes to revenue, agents have to get better at tracking their business. As I look across the industry, about 5% really understand where the business comes from. I'm standing next to one that belongs in the 5% here, next to Chris Paradiso, right?
Thank you for the compliment.
But among many others, it's like, we all know the one thing that the agents have to do is say, how'd you hear about us? And everybody knows it, and most people just don't ask.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is?
Because they're too busy, because using the excuse of, I'm too busy, you don't understand. The underwriter just told me they can't write my inland marine anymore, that class of business they're getting off of, and now, I don't have time to do the track, right? I get that, but someone needs to be responsible for that in an agency. So tracking and understanding marketing really helps revenue. Amazing, right?
Right.
Second thing is...
It's a brain dump right there.
Yeah. Second thing is, we learned among the high growth agencies that 56% of them have someone on staff helping doing the marketing. Again, really rare area that Chris runs in with 2+ people. Are you up to three? Three people now on staff doing marketing for him?
Can you just explain marketing? Because I know it grabs certain
thank
people.
You so
just explain
much.
the difference.
Thank you so much, because you're absolutely right. When I talk to personal lines people, they get that a marketer helps you with connecting, building trust, showing your brand, building a sense of who you are in the community, making someone who typically is perceived among the public as someone who really likes to sell something to me. I don't know if I can trust them. I'm a little hesitant to go to a new one. I'll stay with my old one, even if they're not very good, because I don't really want to have to go broach the subject of making another new right? All that goes on. Personal lines people get that. Business lines people perceive a marketer as an account placement rep. And while I would consider changing the name of what a marketer is, if you step outside the world of insurance, a marketer is not known as an account placement rep.
Absolutely.
And a marketer is somebody who helps you build your brand and tells your story.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's thank you for clarifying.
It's just a lot of people get those words mixed up, you know.
Do you believe that a marketer is also considered a lead generator as well?
Yes. So in my world, we have what we call a marketer development program. It's a full-time program to help agents when they're ready for a full-time person. In the future, we're building a part-time marketer program called Agency Marketing Essentials. It'll be ready in early 2020. And
I hope everybody heard that, because that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be video-based.
Yep.
Free to any Safeco or Liberty agent, no trainer involved, available 24/7, but you need 8 hours a week. Someone and frankly, I don't know many agencies on the personal or business line side that have someone that they can give up for 8 hours a week. So hire someone on staff to help just specifically do the marketing. That's a real key.
When you say hire somebody on the staff, are you talking about let's take somebody who's licensed and use them half the time on marketing and half the time selling?
Again, if that works, if you can afford to give that time up. Chris, what I generally see out there, though, is that most agencies are afraid to hire. They're not sure if they can support the income for a new person. So most of their staff is doing more than they ought to, which means they don't have the time to cross-sell. They don't have the time to get out and prospect as much as they should. So that's why I say I really don't see it on staff, people having the time. So we're generally talking about hiring someone part-time to help.
Because what I see is agencies, if they take a marketing person who's really licensed and selling half the time, they're not marketing the other half, because I believe the agency, whoever's running the agency, is like, hey, they got a license. Keep them motivated and moving towards licensed work, right? So
right business.
That's why we don't believe in getting them licensed. And we've gone away from that. We do not get our marketing people licensed. Their only job
somehow they always get pulled back in.
educate, right?
Yep. So the people that generally do hire a part-time marketer, and by the way, my stuff doesn't come from a class, it doesn't come from my head, it doesn't come from a book or a magazine article I read. This comes from agents being concerned, like Chris, about what's the future of our industry. We know independent agents are better, but they haven't gained market share in a decade in business lines or personal lines. So how do we do that? And we hear from other agents that share their stories. The agencies that I've seen that have hired marketers on staff generally start part-time, but I have seen many go all the way to full-time over a period of months as they continue to take on more tasks to drive revenue to the agency, get more opportunities, even just as something as simple as enforcing a cross-sell program more monthly. They're pulling the different leads. You'd be amazed how many agencies don't do that every month. So that's what a marketer can do. But I like the thought of not having them be licensed. Yeah.
Because then there's not that urge to say, hey, give them licensed work to do. You can't take them away from marketing, as you know. And people would laugh. 3 full-time marketing people, and we still can't get what we want to get done. There's still that much more. There is so much more to do.
To drive revenue.
Absolutely.
Right. Are you willing to share what your growth rate is?
Our growth rate is it's a hard explanation, but I'll give you a really simple. Because we have a niche market, our growth rate is in excess of 30% every year. Because we do a lot of FedEx and Amazon. They organically grow by 20%. Worst case scenario. So if we grow by 10%, which is not hard when we're niche marketing, because we're writing large accounts. This year we'll grow well over 55%. But then again, we have a niche market, and we have several agencies who also send business to us. So it's not fair. It's not the standard agency.
That's okay, but it may or may not be fair. But you're willing to invest in 3 marketers on staff to achieve a 55% growth rate. Most people have no one on staff, and the entire industry of independent agents, while better than all their competitors, are not growing. I believe independent agents can take back market share. That's why we focus so hard on getting people on staff to help.
Is there any average statistic of, if you do have a marketer, a trained marketer on staff, what the potential is? I mean, I know that's a very vague,
loaded question.
Yeah,
over the last
definitely.
year and a half, we've had 300 agents add a marketer to staff and start to do the principles that we teach. However, my accounting department says that's not statistically relevant until you get above 500. So, and it takes several months to get them started. Many agencies will see a lift immediately in retention. They'll see a lift immediately in referrals. Most agencies are seeing 3 to 7 times more referrals than they had before they had a marketer on staff or before they implemented a referral program. We know that once an agency starts a referral program, their general growth rate within 6 months is about 11%. But that's not the only way to grow. And I'm not here to say that my way is the only way to grow. Keep in mind that when agencies hire producers, their average growth rate, again, multiplying themselves, is about 23.5%.
Okay.
That's a stunning number for most. In an industry where it's flat, that's a stunning number.
But the one thing we didn't talk about is, minus all the numbers, what does it do to the culture, to the feel, when our staff starts seeing some really cool social posts, and they see us in the parade, and there's no ROI that can give you what happens to that electricity through the office, and how awesome some community events that we shared socially, right? Yep. It changes the culture in such a positive way.
I would tell you there's an agency I'm thinking about. I won't call them out here, but just really proud of some agencies that just step up and implement. And in a small town, when an agency goes over 5 years from an 88% retention mark to a 93% retention mark on an 11-member staff, that's an amazing growth rate.
And what that did to his wallet.
Exactly, right? It's like, you cannot afford a marketer? What would happen to a person's book? Just growing 3 points on retention is stunning on a book of business.
Definitely.
So retention is actually the second thing that I wanted to talk about with you guys. And again, having a cross-sell program. I also think having trust-building tools. It's more than just revenue generation. It's got to be a bigger picture than that. It could be social media. It could like Instagram and Pinterest,
Sure.
like as you'd mentioned earlier this morning. But it's also sharing at about a 90% to 10% clip personal stuff on those platforms, as opposed to always selling or looking for the latest
Humanizing.
tip. Yes, thank you. That's a very succinct way to put what I was about to spend a lot of time on. So so humanizing and being real and being vulnerable, that's really a key if you want to lift retention. People then feel more comfortable staying, and they feel more comfortable referring. And then the last one is the new business. And I think it's harder for the business lines folks to look at what other agents are doing because they're pretty comfortable in where they are. But our recent study of high growth agents for business lines showed that the high growth agencies are growing policies in force, not written premium, but policies in force organically, not through a book purchase, not through a book roll, but organic growth. 19 to 30% is the range. And on personal lines, 13 to 20%. Again, policies in force, not written premium. So as they're doing that, the business lines people, 7 of the top 9 methods of growth were all referral based. That means that the producers are getting out there and they're getting known through associations and through other members in the community. That's harder to actually have a marketer influence, and it's harder to see how can a marketer help our agency tell our story when all my producers are doing that individually, but they're only doing it with the small groups of people they reach, and a marketer blows wide open the potential of how many people can hear that story.
Right.
And that marketer is probably going to have a consistency that is different if the owner does not take time to educate on the brand
Yep.
to each and every member, especially on an outside producer, then what's that brand message?
Exactly.
Right? It's inconsistent,
Exactly what I was just saying.
which is a real problem.
Yeah, no, it's so important to have that marketer so they can also be a protector of the brand.
Yeah.
And make sure that consistency is across all boards.
So it's not just social media, it's updating your website, and people will go for a quote on a website, but the 2 most viewed pages on a website are the About Us page and the Contact Us page. And on the About Us page, most people have a nondescript paragraph that could be applied, we have great service, ...
Right.
Could be applied to any agency in the country rather than staff bios for every person, a photo of everyone outside of the office doing something that they love, or being with their family, or kayaking, or horse riding, or hunting, or whatever they're doing, whatever they love, so that people get to know them a little better. That's part of what a marketer also helps you put together.
No, that's great. All right, so recap with us real quick the 3 pillars.
Yeah, so focus on revenue, retention, and new business. If those things aren't working and you can't know unless you're tracking,
Right.
then change it up. There's so many different ways to grow. We teach these core principles, but once those agents get that stuff going, funny, they now have a new revenue sources, again, 3 to 7 times more referrals. They can start investing in, I want to go try out this unique different thing. I want to go check out that other market. Things that they're currently very close to the vest or afraid to hire. Maybe I'll hire a producer or 2 or a marketer or 2 to help so we can really multiply this agency and get it going.
I got to ask a question.
Yeah.
Putting you on the spot. We're going to take an agency that says, okay, we need to take one step at a time. I need 6 to 8 months to implement one of them. Which one do you start with, revenue, retention, or new business?
Yeah, so the world I live in focuses in on how do I do that with the least amount of work and the fewest amount of items. We see it as 5 core things agencies have to do that we teach and will teach in that part-time marketer class. Start a welcome kit that includes your referral program, By the way, less than 10% of agencies across the country have a client referral program, specifically one that could give to charity for each referral.
Yep.
We can coach people on what they do with that, and it varies by every state what's allowable. But that referral program really, if you ask me for one thing, it's get a referral program started. But the welcome kit that we teach with a template so that they don't have to go reinvent it, that's number one. We do believe in social media. We do believe in updating your website. We'd love to see them, in addition, do an e-newsletter so that at least they begin communicating in a proactive manner with both their clients and the community. And there are multiple other things that they can do, but those core things, those 5 things are taught within the class.
Sure.
And helps agents get started really quick on all 3 of
The
those.
one thing I find is with agents is we can talk about an e-newsletter, whether it works or doesn't work, but the key concept, one of the biggest things is what CRM tool, what's the best? And I don't think there is such thing as what's the best, but any CRM tools out there that you're seeing agents really enjoy?
There are so many.
Yeah.
And I don't try to promote a winner
Yeah.
in that space. So I don't. I just want it to be something that, Chris, I'm sorry, but it's like, if you haven't gone into your CRM and hit the button that downloads all your addresses into an Excel spreadsheet so you can send it off to somebody to send out a postcard, or prints off all your emails and you've cleared them so that you're not sending 2 to the same person with 2 different, it's like, that's simple stuff that most CRMs should be able to do on the push of a button, and yet many agencies tell me, well, I can't get that out of my system.
Well, what I found is in the management systems that the ones that do have a CRM tool don't have any tracking behind it. So it's hate to say, it's a really outdated CRM tool, right? I mean, if you can't tell if somebody's opening or not, that's really of no use. That means it's like sending a piece of mail with no return, and you're praying that you sent it to the right address and went to the right person.
I don't
right?
know if I believe you, Chris. I mean, you'd have to actually track to know that stuff.
Have to.
Right? And most agents don't. But what a crazy business that we live in, a world that we live in, and business when we have an 88% retention ratio, and I don't have to do any of that marketing to keep my 88%. The average number of people that remember the real estate agent or use the real estate agent that they bought their last house from is 9%. There's a 7-year gap on average there, but it's only 9%. We've got an 88% retention mark, and it could be 93, 94, 95 if we'd start working on this stuff.
I try to give pieces of advice for agents is reinvest and start with a stepping point on retention. Retention is like having diamonds in your backyard. You just got to go dig them because they're already there, right? When so many people say, I want new business, want new business, want new business. And then you find out, I have a very close friend who's literally got thousands of monoline business, thousands of monoline homes. And I'm like, you don't need new business. You just invest every penny you have for marketing dollars in your existing business already to generate more policies. They've already trusted you to buy 1 policy.
Yes.
They will trust you to buy 2 or 3.
Yep. So here's the standard number. I'll tag on to that. I know you're probably wanting to wrap this up and everything.
No
but I'm
worries.
gonna share this one number.
A lot of great ideas.
1.6. 1.6 is the average number of policies per agency.
On the IA channel?
In the IA channel. Most agencies tell us, oh, I got 2, I got a home and auto, or maybe it's 3. I sell a lot of umbrellas. And I get that. I'm not telling you that independent agents are lying to me. What I'm telling you is that they don't know.
Yeah.
Right? And so once agents go in and check that out, if you are below 1.6, we tell agents, don't do anything we teach. Just go cross-sell your book till you get up to 1.6 and then come talk to us again. If you're over 1.6, some agents still try to get that to 1.7, 1.8, 1.9. Takes time.
It's that life insurance. When you add that life insurance, the average lifespan of a 3 policy per household is 10 years. Life insurance is a very, I call it like our sticky rice is what we say. Because that is absolutely instrumental to the income of the agency for 5 years longer than a home, auto, and umbrella. It's crazy to think that life insurance plays that power.
So there are agencies with years of staying with the agency in the teens. And One of the reasons they're able to do that is because of the regular monthly communications. Again, I don't care how they do it, if it's through social media, if it's newsletter, e-newsletter, postcards, whatever, but that continuous communication, not to remind them that you're there to cross-sell a policy for them, but to remind them of the things you're doing in the community and to invite them to come and join you with the things you're doing in the community. Let them get to know you as real people. That's what drives that longer retention.
How important, because I could keep going on and on with you, how important do you think print is for an agency?
Well, some of the best with the highest retention do both print and email. So, I mean, they're in the
I totally
93
agree.
to
I'm
95
curious
range.
only because we walk in different shoes, right?
Yep.
So I'm always curious to hear, because I hear print's dead, I hear print is great, I hear, it's just kind of like retention. I mean, how many agents tell you, oh, my retention's 94%, which we know is not a fact, as you said. Most agents don't know, and that's all we're trying to do is bring them
And many of those
self-aware.
are measuring premium rather than policy count.
Yeah.
So in my world, we measure policy count. So you can never have 101.
Never.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
Always
not
up here.
possible,
Yeah,
right? It's
not
always
possible.
going to be less than that. So anytime somebody says it's over that, and if your retention is at 94 and you're on written premium, you're really losing a lot of business. So we measure on policy count, but those who are between 93 and 94, again, definitely are using mail as one of the tactics.
Interesting. Very
That's
interesting.
great.
I just hope people and agents take this to heart. And, if you were to give a startup agency one piece of advice, what would that one piece of advice be?
Immediately hire a part-time marketer.
Boom.
Even before a staff member?
Well,
Hybrid.
I would say yes, only in that the folks that I have known, one guy that started with a part-time marketer and immediately started increasing referrals. That's how you communicate. As a single owner operator, you don't have time to get that kind of stuff done.
Right. No,
Right.
definitely. Well,
Well.
thank you so much for this. This was fantastic.
Sure, Keagan. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And really, if you guys have any questions, comments, comment below. Like this video and also subscribe to the channel. Also, put a plug in. Don't forget to purchase the Last Agent Standing magazine.
Because this great guy here wrote an unbelievable
right, yeah.
article.
Yeah.
And he is on the cover of our magazine.
So make sure to do that as well. So thank you again. And guys, that was a brain dump.
Big brain dump.
Absolutely.